Very good evening. Welcome to Professor GSK Social Laboratory presents a panel discussion on national education policy, the way forward. After 34 years of wait, finally India had national education policy, revised national education policy. So it's the hot topic of today, and there are a lot of discussions are going across India. We want to have a very insightful discussion on national education policy. We want to decode each and everything which actually addresses the problems, opportunities, prospects of the Indian education. Especially today, we are going to highlight the features of national education policy on higher education. So we have three predominant personalities, and they are very known, and they known for their expertise, and they known for their services in the higher education arena. So we are very lucky to have all these three people. So let me introduce our panelists today. We act, we have Dr. Amit Bhadra. He is a leading researcher, passionate academician, and member of the prestigious Harvard Business Review Advisory Council. He adorns multifaceted roles with commitment and futuristic vision. And currently, he is associated with the Woxsen University, Hyderabad. He is the present Vice-Chancellor of Woxsen University, Hyderabad. We welcome Dr. Amit Bhadra to the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Professor GSA, and thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So the next panelist we have is again a personality, one who actually being connected with many of the higher education leaders in this, not just higher education leaders, the education leaders of this country. So I tried to meet him two times personally, but I didn't. But today we are very fortunate to have such a great personality, one who is actually coordinating and trying to promote the different various higher education institutions in India. That is Dr. Ravi Kupta, founder and CEO, E-Lets Technomedia Private Limited. Basically, he is a social entrepreneur, has been promoting innovations in various sectors for the development of society for 2 decades through research, advocacy, conferences, publications, and whatnot. And currently, he is the founder and CEO and also editor-in-chief of the magazine run by E-Lets Technomedia Private Limited. So I really welcome Dr. Ravi Kupta to the show. Welcome, Dr. Ravi.
Thanks for inviting here, and it's an honor to be here with the eminent panelists who are here. Thanks for inviting. Thank you.
We have one more panelist and my good friend, and actually he is very proactive. And being a vice chancellor, and I know him, he is very down to earth. He never hesitate to reach out to people if that person somehow contributes to the development of at least a small piece of academic development. So I never, one of the very few vice chancellors I seen in this country. He is very down to earth and looking for learning from each and every person he meet in his life, and he is none other than Dr. Sudhir. He is a two times vice chancellor and a professor with a difference who really creates a difference, and he is known as a change maker, innovator, and engaged in ideation. And he is an acclaimed academician and dynamic, proactive, as I told, very proactive and passionate higher education leader with very high caliber. See, apart from all this, I see that quality, looking down to get the inputs for the development of academics. That is the great quality he have, and he is currently associated with Mahatma Gandhi Mission University, Aurangabad. So welcome, Professor Sudhi, Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi Mission University, Aurangabad. Welcome, sir. Professor Sudhir, welcome to the show. So let me start with Dr. Batra. I hope we all read National Educational Policy. There are a lot of good things are there, good announcements are there. So I would like to start with to get your the first remark on this national educational policy. How do you see this national education policy that came after long wait? If that fulfills the demands of the academy and demands of the industry, and if that fulfills the expectation of this current generation. See, the current generation is totally different. It's not like when we were students and when we were started our career. It's a totally a different generation. I can see this generation actually born with technology. So I used to call this generation as your digital natives. Okay, so if the policy, national education policy, really fulfills the demands of these digital natives, and if that fulfills the demands of the industry and academia, what is your first take on this national education policy, Dr. Amit?
Yes, Dr. GSK, thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about the NEP. It is certainly a very visionary document, and as you rightly pointed out, it has come after 34-year long wait. I think one of the most significant things that we are talking about is the significant increase in spending from 3.4% of the GDP to 6% of the GDP. That's almost doubling, which will take us from a rank of something like maybe 63 to maybe a rank of maybe 30 worldwide. So that's a very welcome development that puts us at par with economies like the United States in terms of percentage spending. Of course, we have a long way to go if we have to catch up with Scandinavian countries, which are significantly higher spending, but still this is important. The other important thing that I see in this policy is that, they have envisaged, okay, the policy is in two parts. One is concerned with school education, and the other is concerned with higher education. The school education part is very visionary and very, very disruptive in a positive way. But we are not talking about that, so we are talking about the higher education part. So in the higher education part, one of the important things that we are talking about is that they have thought of having three types of institutions. One is the predominantly research-oriented institutions, which will give a big jump to the research because India is not very well known for its research. So any research paper coming out of India is, seen with a certain amount of skepticism. So I think a very, very strong research-focused institution that would be good. Other type are, teaching institutions. So, they will be basically teaching only. And other type, the third type would be teaching and research, and they would be autonomous. That's a very visionary step that they have taken. So, they'll give autonomy to a large number of institutions to award degree. Right now, degrees can be only granted by regular universities or deemed to be universities, or under AICT, some autonomous schools are there in the domain of management. So by and large, it's all regulated by the university system. Most of the universities which are run by the state are basically affiliating universities. So a university would affiliate maybe 30, 40, 100, 200, maybe 300 colleges. So they want to do away with this system of having affiliations. So every standalone university, the college will be able to grant degrees. So that's a huge step in the right direction, I would say. But of course, it has to be taken with a lot of, what should I say, responsibility on the part of the colleges which are doing it so that they don't end up misusing it. So they have to do a great job, but I'm confident that the Indian higher education industry has matured, it's come of age. So I expect that large number of institutions which are given this authority to award degrees will take it seriously and will not misuse it. I'm confident of it. We have been PGB granting autonomous university institutions for the last 5 years, so working under AICT, and I think nobody has misused it, and so therefore it's a welcome step. Doing away with the affiliation system of the universities is a welcome step because the problem with affiliation is that a university affiliates 200 colleges. The standards of the university are determined by the weakest college. So if I've got 200 colleges and the weakest college will determine the syllabus, the rigor of the syllabus, which means that it pulls down everybody. Now, if everybody has a minimum standard and then everybody has a way to move forward, then I don't have to be restricted to the lowest and the weakest college. So that is a very good development. Also, they're trying to address the digital divide of the digital haves and digital have-nots. Thanks to the private sector in the domain of Wi-Fi connectivity like Geo, I think there's a huge amount of penetration, but still there is a digital divide. So the NEP is addressing it by saying that a lot of content will be broadcast through electronic media like television. So it's addressing the digital divide. Very very welcome. Then they're talking about huge amount of technology interventions in carrying out assessments and carrying out administration and carrying out development of content and dissemination of content. So creating a very very strong tech focused base to do all of these things. So I think this is also in line with the tech savviness of the young crowd. So there are various other things. So I think since I'm just getting the opening remarks, I'll stick to some of these important things that are there. So with that, I will conclude this part of the talk.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. Dr. Ravi, your first take on national education policy. How do you see this? I think without any doubt, it's actually a welcome effort after a long time. But still, we have some few reservations. Of course, we'll discuss about that reservations later. So, what is your first take on this national education policy, Dr. Ravi?
Sure. Uh, I think it's a very progressive policy, in my opinion. And the most important thing is that it has come in the backdrop of the overall higher education scenario. If we're looking at, look at the amount of unemployment which is increasing. There's a scarcity of jobs. There's a supply and demand mismatch. What industry wants, many of our higher education ecosystem is not able to deliver. And in that backdrop, I think this policy has come as a fresh air, in my opinion. First of all, it is giving us flexibility in the whole education curriculum. It is giving more choices for the students to look at multiple set of uh, courses from a varied subjects and varied streams, which is the need of the hour of the industry. It will increase the employability of the students, and also it will open up new innovations in terms of think about a program like Startup India of the government. It requires interdisciplinary collaborations between various streams, and this policy actually sets that agenda in a very very big way. Uh, Also, look at greater autonomy of the institutions at all levels has been propagated, and this is a great step. Like if you look at last 10 to 15 years, there has been a massive rise in the private university ecosystem in this country, and one of the reasons for their growth has been the higher amount of flexibility, higher amount of uh, what you call innovation, because of the lesser control and lesser regulations they have to deal with in their internal ecosystems. So they are able to change their courses, adopt their courses, do more industry collaborations, and prepare more ready, like employment ready set of students than many of the universities in the government sector. And government sector institutions have a lot of potential, but many times they are stuck because of the over regulation. So I think the provision of greater autonomy at all levels has been highlighted in this policy, and that is going to take us a long way in terms of improvement of overall higher education ecosystem of the country. And of course, the idea of creating an academic bank where students are able to complete 1 year and still have a certificate in 2 years, having a diploma in 3 year, having a degree, and a fourth year on a higher qualification. It is like opening up the whole higher education ecosystem, and it is making that higher education more flexible. So multiple entry and exit points are getting created, and that is like going to open up the whole uh, system in a big way. So again, these are my initial remarks, and we will proceed further.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Amit, we being an insider of the universities, Dr. Ravi is anyhow outsider, and we are insider and we run institutions and we lead the institutions. And how do you see these changes in the formative years of this education? See, what personally, the other side of this changing the formative years is already there are, the dropouts are there. Okay. So indirectly, what will happen? The people may stop their education with their diploma or with their certification. So they may not continue until, they complete their degree. So there is a high chance of the country like India where there is affordability of higher education is, little not, affordable to many of the Indian segments. So in that case, so how do you see the plus and minuses of this changes in the formative years?
All right. The way I see it is that there would be a lot of challenges. The way we have been used to having education, we see education as a solid block of 3 years or 4 years. I'm talking about higher education. So for us, it's very difficult to come to terms with somebody who do a year now, another year 3 years later, another year 4 years later. So for us, it's quite an unthinkable thing. So we see it as a very big challenge. Uh, but in Western countries, it's pretty common to accumulate credits, and once you have accumulated n number of X number of credits, you are entitled to the degree. So, of course, the way we see it is that kind of guy who gets 1 year at NGM, 1 year at Woxsen, and 1 year at Osmania University. So he has accumulated the credits. Will he be entitled? Which university will give him the degree? These questions are not really answered very well. So you're saying that you'll create a credit bank, but with the credit bank, can it be created across universities? Not clear. So when I accumulate all the credits, who will give the degree? Not clear. So there is also continuity from first year to second year to third year. So how is that continuity maintained by purely accumulating credits? Not clear. So therefore, they have put up a directional policy, which has lot of traps, undoubtedly, but I think that when you are making a big change, you're bound to have these things. So I don't see it as a negative. The way I see it is that it's a thinking process that they have put forward. They have not, dotted the i's and crossed the t's. They have said this is our thinking. How to do it specifically will come out later. Now I'll tell you how it help. So you have a basic degree which is necessary for job. For example, I need a BTech, I need a BCom. So I think for that kind of degree, this kind of credit bank system may not be very useful. But once I get that basic degree, a BTech or a BCom or BSc or whatever, after that, when I go for higher education, the credit bank thing may kick in. So I do some MBA, maybe a few credits here and then. So where it is possible to stretch it out over a period of 5, 6 years, 8 years. So it may kick in more for the additional, the master's program or something like that. So for the first degree, I think that it may not be really workable. The first degree, you'll have to get it in the proper way. You do 3 years, 4 years at one go and then get it. The second one, you may, because when I'm working, I do 1 year, then I get transferred. Or, the work pressure is too much, I can't do 2 years back to back. So, I drop out. So it will, supposing I'm trying to do MBA, I've got 5 years experience, I'm an engineer. So I can't think of doing MBA because I'm thinking that 2 years back to back, I cannot manage because my job pressure is so much, I will get transferred. So I said, not to worry. So I'll do it now. If the pressure becomes too much, then I'll take a break. I'll do it the rest of it. So I think it will encourage the process of higher education with this kind of flexibility. So I think, in spite of some of the question marks that we may have in our minds, I think it's a welcome step as long as it is restricted to more of the additional add-on higher level degree that you get. I am very confident that it's there in the US. is there in many of the Western countries. So we should be also able to get it. So that's the way I look at it.
Yes, Ravi, I am back to you again. Still, Dr. Sujit joins. So we got Amit's view on this. How do you see, apart from general perception on this? So I elaborated some critics on that, right? So there is a chance of dropping from the first year itself, having a diploma. Even then, you are also a guy moving with all the industries and also moving with the recruitment, organizations too. So how do you see the employment perspective? So in the changes in the formative years, will be useful for the getting an employment? So what is the impact of this change in formative years on employment perspectives?
Sure. I think process GSK, the major point about this flexibility in the formative years is that many times we think of education for the sake of education. Like after 12th, there is like nothing to do, so I will do a BA or a BTech. And the whole as Dr. Amit just highlighted that for an Indian ecosystem, like this is a totally different way of looking at education. So uh, it is good to have someone drop out, like complete 1 year, go to industry, do some job, come back again, then do another 1 year, go back to industry, do a job, and come back again. Rather, and instead of like doing 4 years and not having that, or doing 3 years and not having that enthusiasm or that motivation to study at all, and like studying for the sake of study, which many times happens in the society. If you look at the BTechs which are coming out of the MBAs, when they are coming in an interview and someone asks them, said, why did you do a BTech? And he said that there was a parental pressure and there was like we were all thinking that what to do, what to study, and we like did that. But I was not interested. I want to do sales, or I want to do arts or creative writing, stuff like that. So people get stuck in a degree for 3 years or 4 years unknowingly, and this flexibility of like dropping out and coming in again provides that ecosystem in the higher education to uh, go out, learn, and come back again, or change your university, change your college. You are if you are not liking it, so it is prevalent in the Western countries, and I think opening up will really help instead of like producing unemployable workforce or unmotivated workforce in large numbers. And like look at the job of like a government job of beyond coming in, and you have BTechs or MTechs or like MA and PhDs applying for it. So it's better to have lesser people getting into higher education than just like counting the numbers, counting the GER, and not counting the quality and the motivation. Yeah, that's my input for this.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Let's move on to the then another perspective. I think along with this changes in the formative years, and there is a high importance given to multidisciplinary approach in delivering the sorry delivering the degrees. Along with the STEM, the national education policy really emphasizes to integrate the arts and other liberal arts and all those things with the STEM. So I think this is another welcome initiative I can see in this national educational policy. And one my again being a moderator and being a guy one who look at both the sides. So what I can see in this initiative is expertising in one domain. See, for example, right? So when you are going for a multidisciplinary, So will that affect there are in IT you can have full stack developer and the expertise in a particular thing. So Dr. Amit, again I am coming back to you. How do you see this multidisciplinary emphasis in this budget? So of course I too talked about this multidisciplinary interdisciplinary degrees in one of the event organized by Ravi last February in Hyderabad, World Education Summit, where I moderated a session. Again, we had a wonderful discussion there. So again, the same. In fact, I appreciate that multidisciplinary approach. So, how do you see, Dr. Amit, the both the sides of this multidisciplinary approach?
All right. So I'll tell you what. A lot of universities who have number of schools with them are adopting multidisciplinary approach. So excuse me. So if I look at engineering,
Fine, sir. Go ahead.
so if I look at engineering, so I am required to have 160 credits to be delivered over 4 years. Now, the question I have is that is it necessary to have all the 160 credits in technology area? I'm running a BTech program. So, my question is why? Why should all the 160 credits be only in technology? Because this guy is going to take the job, and his job will may entail many things. For
Now
example,
it's visible. Yeah.
chances are he would get into sales of maybe tech products or industrial products. So he may need something about how to build relationships, a little bit of that, or he may have to deal with people, so he may need to know a little bit of HR. Now, chances are that this guy may go on to do MBA, in which case maybe that part gets addressed. But supposing he doesn't get an MBA and doesn't go for MBA, so why should it be mandatory for him to do the MBA? Otherwise, he doesn't get any interdisciplinary thing. Now, even MBA will give him only certain things in business areas. It will not give him certain things in maybe law or so supposing out of my 160 credits that I have to play around, supposing I take 20 credits aside, which will be drawn from business management or some other discipline. So I'm sure I'll produce a better professional than somebody who has done all 160 credits in engineering only. So if I have got sister schools which are running business and design and other things, so see, I'm doing a course in robotics. Now in the robotics, why can't I like I've got a school of design? So when I'm doing my robotics, why can't I bring in some perspective from the school of design so that he can actually design a robot with a certain thing? Or why can't I bring in artificial intelligence from my business field. So why can't I? Because to do a holistic thing, you need various disciplines. So I see no reason why all 160 credits should come from just one domain. So if I have the choice, I've got various schools where I can draw things. So I would definitely have a multidisciplinary approach, and I think in other countries, in the US, you can pick many things. So you have some core credits, but other credits you can accumulate from other fields. So I think this freedom is, according to me, it will create more better rounded professionals and not force everybody to do only one type of course. So I'm personally I've been associated with and I'm aware of other universities which are doing it in a very serious way and we're doing it very effectively. So I would say that I welcome it and I'm all for it.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Amit. Professor Sudhir, welcome after a little bit of technical issues. Dr. Sudhir is Vice-Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi Missions University, Aurangabad. We were discussing about the multidisciplinary highlights given in the national educational policy. So, Professor Sudhir, and how do you see, do you welcome this multidisciplinary, aspect which is being emphasized to integrate with the liberal arts and other domains. So Dr. Amit also quoted from European and US and how it has been adapted into the mainstream education when it comes to the multidisciplinary. How this multidisciplinary will approach will enhance the attitude, the learning atmosphere. How it will enhance the learning atmosphere of the institutes. Dr. Professor Sudhir.
Yeah, thank you very much. For at the outset, thank you very much for inviting me to discuss with these very learned intellectuals about the new education policy of India. See, now since last 2 decades, everybody speaks about interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, but there was no structure in place at that time. So there was intention, but there was no system. Now, this new education policy offers that system to the management, to the academic leaders, and to the students and parents. So, academic bank of credits is being planned into this new education policy. So, a student will get accumulating the credits acquired from various institutions across the globe, and through that he can go on collecting the credits, and according to the credits he will get the degree required. So there is a combination of choice, multiple choice, and the combination of the educational opportunities ahead that student seeks for his future. Now they are binded, very much binded. If I am interested in art, at the same time there is a force from my family to do engineering, so I cannot go for art, so I have to complete my engineering, and then as per my liking I will go to the art field, or do I will do something artistic engineering kind of thing. So our youth is wasting time and very valuable years of their career making. So discovering and designing one's own career, multidisciplinary structure offers you that opportunity. I would like to share with the audience here, and respected panelists know that this MIT Boston has come out with new pilot program, this master course in supply management. So in that, 3 semester of that curriculum, the student can acquire credits from MOOC programs offered by various institutions in the world. So there are at present there are 15,000 courses are available to accumulate the credit offered by top universities in the world, many universities one across the continents. So I will acquire the required credit as per the curriculum designed by the MIT. I will clear first semester. I will clear second semester, being at my place, being at my home, or being doing pursuing some another degree in my own country, in my own place. And for the fourth semester, they are admitting that student to the MIT. So this model, I call it as a Facebook model of education, digitally driven education, DDE. We are entering into that domain wherein students have multiple choice. They will accumulate the credits, and through that they will acquire the degrees parallelly, because we have seen that now there is no bar of age for education, pursuing knowledge. There should not be bar of completing this particular degree or pursuing this particular discipline, then and then only you can pursue this particular knowledge, this degree or whatsoever. Now anybody, anytime, from anywhere, at any age, can pursue the knowledge whatever he feels suitable for him. So those disciplinary boundaries, faculty boundaries, are going to be dismantled in the world, and therefore linking with the world trend, this particular approach of the new education policy is a welcome activity. I personally feel. Number two, there is one more question related to this. For example, any student, highly talented student, fast learner, I will say, if at the age of 18, if that person, maybe girl, boy, if he is doing a top quality research at this age, teenage, why can't that person get the doctoral degree by the quality of research, top class quality research? So I have seen, I have read one book by Stanford professor. He said that one of his brilliant student of undergrad, at the age of 18, she got patent. So we have to explore these kind of possibilities in Indian education system, and better path for the highly talented students, slow motion path for the skill acquiring students, and at the same time promotion of basic research, multidisciplinary basic research in various domains of knowledge, in the emerging areas of knowledge. That is required. But my one doubt, which is very strong, that if you are allowing students to branch out, exit and come again, and like that re-enter, uh, there is a possibility that at present our success ratio of graduation is very very poor in comparison with the global standards. Okay, our GR is also poor. It is around 27 28 percent of
Yeah.
age group. Now, if with this poor GR, if we are allowing students to go in the market, and if they get some good job, paying job for them, and if they sustain in that job, they will not come back for graduation. This is also a dropout, a problem of our country. So that is one point I'm having personal, doubt about that. Number two, in a setup at present we are having, unless and until those structures are dismantled, you cannot create new structure, new academic structure even. Now a lot of things, very ambitious, very good, futuristic, timely, they are into this very national education policy document. But how to execute that, that is a basic problem. For example, NEP says that affiliation, college system will be dismantled in 15 years. Now you are expecting that those colleges will become autonomous colleges, huh? Degree awarding colleges, or they can be constituent colleges of the universities. Now the colleges are already affiliated colleges. If they become constituent colleges of the affiliated college, for example, most of the public universities are having affiliated colleges from 400 to 7 800. Okay, now if they become constituent college of that particular university, it's a heavy burden on the finances of the university. See, as per the statistics available on the government of India's official statistics, if you see that out of 49,788 colleges in India, only 786 colleges are 2F12B colleges. Others are not, because the poor infrastructure, poor faculty, and poor situation of that institution. They are really below the average colleges. Where are they? They are located in the remote areas of our country. Now, how they can become, because most of them are in a private mode. No financial aid is given by the government. And if such institutions are to be taken over as a constituent college of the university in that area, so it is an economic issue. We have to address that. And second question in my mind is, for example, if you want to convert the present, singular discipline, singular faculty universities into multidisciplinary, that is being planned, multidisciplinary education and research universities. So, are we prepared our mind and financial support resources for making those universities into a new structure of university? That is one issue. And the most important issue as a student of economics, I feel, is that you are assured that 6% GDP will be invested into the education. And you have just mentioned into that the central and state government will make efforts to make provision. So we are making these efforts since last 40, 50 years. Nothing has happened, right? So execution. execution of all these very ambitious and appreciable plans is a big issue in the country like India. Now, because of the COVID again, there was a economic slowdown all over the world. After that, this COVID effect is also there, and because of that, I don't think next 5 years there is a education will get a priority. That will not be priority in next 5 years or so. So how we
Yeah.
can supporting resources to make this happen, that's a big issue in my mind.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Sudhir, for your first remark and very insightful. And there are a lot of things to rethink and work out. When in your in your remark you have quoted infrastructure and faculty quality. So I would like to take this to Dr. Amit.
Yeah.
Dr. Amit, you can we got a a kind of feedback from Professor Sudhir about a kind of infrastructure and teaching quality of this country. So how do you see this lack of infrastructure and lack of talented, well exposed to faculties? And what are the provisions are there in the national education policy with regard to developing the infrastructure, educational infrastructure, and improving the quality of the faculties?
All right. I think they have talked about significant budgets going into developing the faculty. They have talked about assessment, but they are also talking about creating which will upgrade the faculty skills. I'm hopeful that the concerns that Professor Sudhir has so rightly expressed, I can understand his concerns because it is very easy to say you will be autonomous, but how will I get the students? How will I make my ends meet? I need X amount of money to run it. Where will I get it? Will the student fees meet the expenses? We know well that getting admissions in the right quantity and of the right quality is a big challenge for any academic institution. Even IIMs and premier institutions are facing this. So getting the right numbers, getting the right quality, big challenge. So when you say everybody will be autonomous, it's going to be a problem. And obviously, the 6% provision, it's not possible to really fund thousands and thousands of colleges. So funding colleges is out of question. Even if you make it 20%, it's not possible to fund. So colleges would have to raise their own money. Now the question is, where do we get faculty? Okay, very big challenge because faculty, in spite of the higher faculty, seventh pay commission increases salaries of faculty. Still, the best people are not coming into teaching. Teaching is still remains the second or third or fourth choice. So, but hopefully the NEP will address it by saying that, okay, we'll create some resources which will enable faculty training, in a significant way, in a low cost way, dissemination of knowledge. So maybe, the support given to faculty, that's easier than direct cash transfer to colleges, which is not possible. But definitely support to faculty in terms of their upgradation of skills and all is probably possible. Second thing, they're also trying to talk about a technology infrastructure for dissemination and administration. So I'm hopeful that that will also help the faculty, upgrade their skills. And they're also talking about building an infrastructure which will add on to the what the private sector has done, like companies like Geo and all have done. So the blended learning online was plus classroom based. Online education will allow reach. So faculty sitting in Bangalore can address. Dr. Sudhir talked about how do we go to the rural areas and all. So maybe a faculty based in Bangalore can teach a student in Gulbarga. Maybe that kind of a technology backbone will enable some of it. That is today, even in medical sciences, we have seen that happening. Doctors sitting in one city are online treating patients in a distant place. Even today we are facing this. See, we are located in a place called Sangariki. It's like 50 kilometers from Hyderabad. So if I have to consult a doctor, I can just go to Apollo Hospital, online consultation. So online is becoming a major, technology platform to help. So I'm hopeful that some of these issues of how do I, instead of paying a faculty full time, I can have a visiting faculty who is based in a big city, and I do online. So in fact, what we are doing is we have technology tie-ups with a large number of universities across the world. We have got technology tie-ups with UK-based universities, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, US, Canada, Venezuela, Peru, Brazil, Vietnam, Korea, Singapore, Australia. So, people, Italy, Greece. So, people from these universities, and which are very highly ranked, they are Financial Times, top 100 universities, and also they have got significant accreditations and all. So, in the normal way, I will not be able to afford that faculty. But in the online mode, I can get those faculty to teach, maybe one or two courses. So I think online is going to become a very powerful tool, and some of the cost issues will probably be addressed by technology, which is dissemination of knowledge, administration of knowledge, assessment of people, regulation. So I think I'm hopeful that some of these cost-centric issues will be addressed. Nevertheless, it remains a challenge for academic institutions to become self-sufficient. Very, very difficult to have the best of faculty, and to pay them that kind of salaries. We have a poor quality of students, barring the top 5 to 10%. The remaining students are poorly educated, poorly motivated. They don't know which way they need to go. So it remains a challenge. I completely agree with Professor Sudhir. So all these are good intentions. To give it shape, to make it happen, to prioritize, to make sure the money goes into the right basket is a huge challenge. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, Professor Amit. Ravi, I think you have heard Professor Sudhir and Professor Amit about the infrastructure and the quality of the faculties. When we talk about the infrastructure and quality of faculty, other side, we all agree that it is, we are not up to the mark, still a long way to go in terms of ensuring a better infrastructure and, more explored faculties. And there was other announcement in the national education policy that we'll be going for allowing foreign universities, okay, into the giving a permission to get into the foreign universities to the country. So when other side there is a poor infrastructure and we have an internal poor not up to the mark faculty, and what will be the competitiveness of these Indian institutes when foreign institutions are coming? Okay, so you are the one actually, involved in assessing the universities and institutions across India. You know better how the institutes in India, universities or India are performing. When the foreign universities are coming into India, how it will impact on the Indian institutions in terms of enrollment and in terms of reputation and equality. Dr. Ravi.
Sure. Let's remember 1991, Narasimha Rao. The major economic reforms happened, and all of us were scared that foreign companies will come and Indian companies will be finished. They will be taken over. They will all die. And the history, we can see that after that liberalization happened, the entry of the foreign companies happened. There has been major changes in the growth of the economy. The Indian companies actually reformed themselves, got competitive, and they have economy has flourished. And I think I can imagine the same situation after these reforms happened when the foreign universities will enter India. Instead of the Indian universities feeling weak because of them or dying because of them, it may actually uh, help in the resurgence of the Indian universities. Because when there is a competition in the market, the human tendency is to actually compete and to upgrade your skills and look at learning from our competitor. Think about McDonald's, uh, Pizza Hut. After they have arrived, the quality of the Indian restaurant, the hygiene levels in the Indian restaurants improved after seeing their hygiene in the McDonald's or the Pizza Hut. I will say that we have to welcome the foreign institutions in the country with both the hands, open hands, give them a much more liberal uh, ecosystem to get in the country, collaborate with the Indian education ecosystem, and it will actually help both the universities and the students. It will create more options for the students, and it will also reduce our precious outflow of the foreign exchange, which the Indian students are going abroad and spending all that money here. Infrastructure will be created in the country, jobs will be created in the country, and it will help everyone. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Professor Satir, you only started talking about the poor infrastructure and faculty's quality. And I would like to know, are the Indian institutes are prepared? Okay, Ravi is actually more of optimist and, looking for the best thing will happen. Are the Indian universities and institutions are prepared to face the competition of the foreign universities when they pitch into the country? So what is the present
Yeah,
situation, Professor?
yeah. As Ravi has rightly explained, in 90s we have faced the same situation in the industry market, and industry was fearsome that time, very fearful, and they were pressing to the government, don't allow them to come. But we have experienced that, you just see the automobile sector. That time, this Lambretta and Bajaj were the scooters, and 25, 30 years, they have not even changed the colors. They were monopolistic situation. So when the multinationals came in, now you have better vehicles, better research. R&D was zero that time, and because of this competition, our Indian automobile companies have also developed qualitatively and competitively, and market has increased in a large scale. We have noticed that. Same has happened in the insurance, same has happened in the banking sector also. So I'm feeling that let the foreign universities let them come in India. We should allow them happily, because it will create an environment to compete and create competencies among our institution, and that kind of competition is required. Our so-called top institution in India, if they get the better competition, they will try to better up themselves, and they will be among the top 500 institutions. At present, we are not there in top 200, right? Not a single university. And around us, Singapore, this Korea and China, Japan, their institution during last 15 years have excelled so well that they have come in that number. Where are we now? Therefore, my personal opinion is that competitive environment is very much essential, and at the same time, the share of the student, which presently Indian so-called top universities are getting, they are feeling that they are going to lose their market share of students. That is the fear in their mind. But if they improve, and if they improve qualitatively, if they engage top teachers, global teachers of that caliber, as sir has rightly said, Amit sir has rightly said, that this change, presence, the very presence will create an ecosystem of quality, improving the quality, learning from each other. Because I am of the opinion that foreign universities should also learn something from us, how to teach huge millions and millions of students togetherly with the affordable cost. That, as Dr. Amit sir has rightly said, this online education, open and distance learning, ODL it is called as, it is a system which going to give the solution for the quality, equity and affordability triangle is a fix. We are in a fix. For quality, we need investment. Investment is not there, so we cannot achieve quality. and we cannot go for affordability because cost increases, and equity is a big issue in our country. So in democratic country like India, everybody has right to have a quality education, higher learning opportunities. Are we providing that? So if you see the GR in our country, that GR for the weaker sections and rural population, it is the UGC study says it is pathetically very, very poor among the different social sections of our society. So how to achieve equity? In that case, I think if government has a political will and state governments has a political will, they can create a top class broadband infrastructure across the nation. The governments can provide smartphones to the students with the low cost, subsidized cost. And if every child of our country gets this access, because digital divide is very strong, access to internet is not available at par with the same speed. It is urban centric. Let us accept that. And we always think of that particular creamy layer society. What about the dreamy layer society of our India, dreamy layer youth of our India? If we empower them, then and then only our 50 crore middle class will convert themselves into 50 crore more student will come into the having purchasing power, and they will have job, and then India will be the huge market for the world. Everybody will come here. So that should be our ambition, and that should be our design. That dreamy layer section of our society should be given quality education despite their economic status, which is poor. Now we know that going abroad and learning in a top university, it is practically impossible for the class one, super class one officers of the government of India or any professor cannot send his child 2 crore rupees for a one particular program. Impossible. And living cost. You just imagine if that kind of quality of program we could offer in a low cost, affordable cost here, 120 developing countries of the world will see to India for higher learning. We just have 11,500 international students. We can have 1 lakh international students if you have a quality infrastructure, affordability, and even the equity. Living cost in India is very, very low. So that is the future of India. We should think in that line, create a good infrastructure for us as well as become a global leader in affordable quality higher education. That is
Yeah,
my
well said.
observation.
Yeah, well said, Professor Suthir. Actually, I am about to talk about that digital divide. So again,
Yeah.
you rightly touched that digital divide. That is what I about to discuss. Dr. Amit, when we talk about this digital divide, and India is the country, we are more of, multi-layer diversification is there. Okay, multi-layer diversification you can see across regions, across culture, and we are the one country in the world having multi-layer diversification. And as Professor Sudhir rightly mentioned, there is a huge digital divide is there, and more of our education are urban centric, not not the rural centric, the other segment of the people. And here I have a question here. See, already after lot of private institutions, okay, after a lot of private institutions came into India, the affordability of education and accessibility to the higher education is not so easy for the middle and lower middle classes. See, I personally can see without any without a education loan. Okay, nobody in this country can go for a higher education. If someone can avail education loan, then they can avail the higher education. Think about the grassroots level people, those who are not able to access and affordable the cost of the higher education already, which is privatizing in India. In addition to this, lot of foreign education institutions are also coming. So booming of these private institutions and foreign institutions in India, will this is going to be affordable and accessible to the each and every aspiring student of this country, Dr. Amit?
I think there are two things which you have talked about. One is overseas foreign universities coming to India. The second thing is affordability. There are two different things. I think the first thing has been addressed by Sudhir and Ravi, will foreign universities come and destroy Indian? No, no, they will not. They are in a different segment. The foreign university, like let me talk about business education. One kind of quote unquote foreign university that has come in is ISB. So it is a Indian unit. It's neither a university nor a college. It doesn't even have AICT approval. But for the time being, let us say it's a college, which it is not actually. So we don't know what it is. So ISB's partner schools are Wharton and Kellogg. They are two of the top business schools in the world. Now, uh, their fees are typically in the region of 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, that kind of fee structure. So, are they competing with other colleges? No, they are not. So, are they going to decimate other colleges which are charging 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 10 lakhs fee? No, no, they are not. So, they are competing in a totally different space. So, they are not trying to decimate institutes which are charging 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs. Then those 10 lakhs institutes are not able to go to that 30, 40 lakhs. So, I don't think they are competing. But I think they are welcome for the simple reason that if they had not come, IIMs would have become complacent because by default IIMs are the kings, so they can do whatever they want. Nobody is going to unseat them. Now ISB has come and given them a run for their money. So IIMs are also, their back is up. So they have become very competitive. Now, IIM Bangalore, incidentally, that is my alma mater. I'm alumnus of IIM Bangalore. Uh, it was born in an international way. So they attracted people from US and other, mainly US PhDs. So IIM Bangalore has been able to compete. There's something called Financial Times ranking. So IIM Bangalore has the Financial Times ranking among global MBAs of 27. ISB is 28. So IIM Bangalore is the only Indian institute which has beaten, ISB. IIM Calcutta is, I think, something like 40 or so, 41, 42. IIM Ahmedabad is 61. So can you imagine that if ISB had not come, everybody would have been complacent and nobody would know. Everybody would say, oh, rank of 200 is also good rank. So ISB told people that I am getting 28. So IIM Bangalore got 27. Now everybody's back is up. So I think the foreign universities. So as Dr. Ravi and Dr. Sudhir also rightly said, what happened in 91? You look at some numbers. Now look at FMCG. Now everybody thought FMCG they'll come and wipe out. What happened? Procter and Gamble. It is the world's largest. Now it is number two. Number one, number two. Like L'Oreal is the biggest. So it's a $80 billion giant. It's 80 billion, one of the largest operations in the world, largest FMCG company. People thought it's going to come to India, everybody is going to be decimated. They came with Godrej, Godrej soaps. There was a FMCG company. They tied up, Gurcharan Das was the first CEO, very, very, high profile person. Everybody thought P&G will do 50 of HUL and everybody. Where is P&G today? P&G's turnover annual revenue is 6,700 crores. It is at par with tier 3 players like Marico, which turnover is 5,900 crores. And Dabur, which is just operating in a certain sector, it's not even across. So Dabur is like Ayurvedic, herbal Ayurvedic products.
Yeah.
Dabur is 9,000 crores. So HUL is 35,000 crores. What happened? P&G could not make its mark. In cement sector, Lafarge Holcim came. Lafarge Holcim is, I think, the number one and number two cement company in the world, $24 billion. Everybody thought Lafarge Holcim will come and do 50 of Indian cement companies. What happened? They could do nothing. Ultimately, they are trying to, they have acquired Abuja, which was a very successful company, and ACC, which is a former Tata company. They acquired ACC and Abuja, so they have a presence. If you remove Abuja and ACC, Lafarge also has no presence in India. Who is the biggest competitor? Hello, it is Ultratech. Larsen & Toubro, completely homegrown. They are not able to decimate Ultratech. Ultratech is king. What about all the Birla Cement companies? They are doing fine. So outsiders will not kill Indian companies and Indian institutions far too resilient. Don't underestimate Indian, competitiveness. India is don't bother. Let them come. We will learn from them, respect and admire them. and we'll learn from them. We are not scared of them. We are also having tie-ups, so I don't see any problem. Then the other thing that you talked about is affordability. Right? Significant. Affordability is linked to employability. If you create products who are not employable, then the education is not affordable. As Dr. Ravi rightly said, uh, you cannot manage without education loans. Education loans will come only if at the end of the program you get a job. If you are not going to get a job, nobody is going to give a loan to you. So therefore, employability is very critical. So in this regard, I think the NEP has talked about something very significant. It's talked about vocational education. So it's talked about skilling, which we have been talking about a long time. We say cash. Cash is not P as such, not money. It is K, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. So, knowledge, skills, attitude, and habits have to go hand in hand, which will give you a. So, vocational in the US, you have community colleges. So, everybody does not do this kind of mainstream education where you study books. So, you do things, you can build a small electric motor or repair something. Community colleges do all of that, and they are very hugely respectable. Those community colleges have better infrastructure and better professors and better students than we have in premier education institutions. So our education, with this NEP, they're driving education towards something where you create employable graduate. If you are able to create employment, and they're doing it in school level, we are not talking about schools, but they're talking about vocational, electrical, repairs, mechanical repairs, pottery, masonry, animal husbandry, agriculture. We're talking about all of that. So NEP is heavily focused towards employability. If you create employability at the end of the program, then loans will come. If loans come, then you'll be able to afford. Like when I did my engineering, okay, you know how much I was paying per semester? You laugh. 450 rupees was tuition fee per semester, right? And I used to get a scholarship, not 350 rupees. 350 rupees was the semester fee. I used to get a scholarship of 450 rupees, so I got 100 rupees extra. When I went to IIM Bangalore, how much I paid? 3,500 rupees for a 2-year program. Today, I think it's in the region of 12 lakhs, 30 lakhs. But still affordable. Why? Because the guy is going to get a job, he's going to get a loan. No problem. So if you're able to assure a job, then the higher fee is not a problem. You'll get a loan. So the idea is of affordability. The trick is to link your education. Education costs money. Sorry, you can't have that. So you have to pay your faculty. What is the faculty salary? Faculty salaries are like today 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. What faculty salary is 40 lakhs. There was a time with Mr. K.L. who was the chairman of ITC. I'm talking about 95. Mr. K.'s salary was fixed at 40 lakh of rupees. Nobody got that much money. Everybody said, hey, he's an employee at the end of the day. He's a chairman of ITC. But at the end of the day, he's still an employee. So how can an employee get 40 lakhs? I'll talk about 95. Today, a senior professor gets 30 lakhs. The salaries of deans and directors are in the region of 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs. So, therefore, somebody has to pay. So it has to come from the fees. So the student fees are going to go up. You cannot have 2 lakh, 3 lakh fees. MBA fees will be 18 lakhs, 20 lakhs because you have to pay those guys. So how will it be 18 lakhs? So you get loan. Why? Because when this guy gets a job, he'll be able to pay it off. So I think the trick is employability. If you are factoring employability, then affordability will follow. So I think that if you're doing the right thing, then money will not be a problem. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well said, Dr. Amit. Very, very insightful and clear. Clarity on your insights and thought we can see. Dr. Ravi, I would like to go to the other perspective of discussion. So it's about a single regulatory system. Why I want to start this with you is because you actually I hope you assess the institutes for ranking, and when you give some rewards, awards, and ranking the institutions, that involves several criterions, right? So when there are different bodies to regulate the system, previous that we had, now we are going to have a single regulatory system. So if this is going to make any change or impact in the way we accredit and in the way we assess the performance of the Indian institutions. So what is your take on the going with the single regulatory system? Are you with this, or are you with having a exclusive regulatory system for different verticals of education? Your take, Ravi.
Sure. I think one of the problems which the Indian higher education ecosystem has multiple set of regulators, and each having a different set of priorities, and the people are confused, and it leads to an environment of over regulation. I think the step of having a single regulator is a good idea, but the challenge again is that if that single regulator is still is going to over regulate, then it is as bad as the current ecosystem. So my suggestion is that having a single regulator is fine, but as Professor Sudhir had highlighted in his speech, that this NEP is giving us a good framework. So I think the regulators have to provide a framework, general basic guidelines of operations, and give as much liberty as possible to the higher education institutions to run as it happens in the Western countries, where we have seen excellence because of lesser regulations like MIT or Harvard or anyone else. It's least regulated. It is like given that autonomous, like autonomy, and also that trust that you will do well. And like these institutions are looking at creating their own brand, and they are fighting to retain their spots in the global ranking and also maintaining their brand. So instead of the regulator asking them to have so many computers in your laboratory, with so many teachers or so many faculty, or X, Y, Z parameters, the every institution has to become a uh, brand. It has to look at marketing. It has to look at attracting the best of the students. And if that mindset is created, then regulation becomes secondary, and the institution itself is like starts driving the reforms internally instead of someone pushing you to do this. So right now we are in that push system of imposing regulations instead of the pull system where the institution itself is driven. As Dr. Amit mentioned about that ISB creation pushed IIMs to increase their ranking. So it happens by the market ecosystem, not by regulator pushing the IM that MHRD is asking the IM that, okay, you have to improve the ranking. So that's my take on it. Don't over regulate. Like that's my prescription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Professor Sudhir, there are a lot of mentions about the technology platforms in the policy. So how do you see, we already talked about infrastructure and all these things. How do you see these technological platforms and going forward with, moving forward with adopting the technology in the front of delivering the education, and where we are, and is there any proper directions and guidelines are being mentioned in the policy, or other way, what is the state of this adopting technology platforms in the Indian higher education? Can you just explore a few things on this?
Yeah. uh, See, going forward with the digital technologies, uh, now the world is in next 5 7 years will be a network society. Means every human being on this earth will be connected with each other digitally. So it is called as a network society. Almost now 85% of the population of the world are having smartphone or device through which they can interact with any person uh, anywhere in the world at any time. Now seeing this digital revolution in making, and a new kind of society, network society we are coming in. Everything is going to change. So we are into a digital age, and in this digital age, one has to learn, and one has to create an infrastructure, digital infrastructure required for that. For that, what is required is, the governments, states and central, both of them, and as well as the corporate world, they have to reach out with the quality backbone, technology backbones across available with the high speed. Now when we say that we have 4G, what kind of 4G we are having, right? Now the world is in 5G, 6G is being planned. So when the technology is advancing so fast in the world, if a particular country like India, with the vast majority of population, continental country, remains backward in this area, and government is not ready to invest, they are investing on the roads. I am happy they are investing into airports. I am happy expansion is required, infrastructure is required. Like this, communication is also equally required for education and development, for even the market, for the business also. So I personally feel that equitable availability of the high end technology to everybody, because if you have been deprived by this, you are deprived by quality education and quality opportunities. Work from home is going to be a new funda of jobs. Tata has decided that 2025 there will be 75% staff will be working from home. And Infosys International is finding centers in India for training and development, because in India, manpower, human capital is available at low cost, very hardworking and good doing. So in this context, I personally feel that National Education Policy has come out with a National Education Technology Forum, NETF. So what kind of that forum will be, what will be its structure, whether it will be a federal, how the states will be working on that, how the government is going to invest into that, because we had in UPA 2 we have a national mission on education through ICT, and you must be remembering that time Sakshat was developed. Now this government, Delhi
Yeah.
government, has come out with the Swayam kind of platform, and lot of television channels they are coming out. So I personally feel that very strong digital backbone across India, including tribal and rural remote areas, is required. Then the bigger challenge is content creation into regional languages. That is the biggest single most challenge. If you see the passing percentage and you do the big data analytics, you will find that students in India, why they drop out in school education, just because of English and mathematics, just because of these two
Correct.
subjects. So, what is the solution? Because we don't have quality content in the respective regional languages. So, we have to think multidisciplinary, multilingual platforms, and therefore, I like the approach of the government that Indian languages will be promoted, offering education into Indian languages. At the same time, learning English is must. We should provide that platform, that avenue to the student. But at the same time, they should learn their own language and create science and technology knowledge into their own respective languages. Right? Otherwise, there will be cultural divide, there will be educational divide, and there will be opportunity divide. We cannot afford in a democratic country like ours that this kind of divides grow up, and we fuel that kind of divide. So therefore I personally feel that corporates in India, because most of service providers in technology, they want to invest into, because India is a huge market for them. So they want to invest into this. Only utilizing and applying those technologies for purpose of education is very important. I know a teacher, let me share with that. He is a primary teacher, DEd. He has done just DEd. He is not even graduate. But he is very passionate about the technology. So by saving small amount, he is teaching in a remote village in a class 1 and class 2 of Jilla Parishad school, and he has developed his own website in Marathi language, and he is offering modules through fun mode to learn mathematics, to learn languages, and he has developed his own Bal Jagat website in Marathi. And when I asked him what is the why we are backward in this area, what he said that millions and millions of Indian talent is into IT across the globe, but they are not contributing to create content into their respective languages. Because of that, we are backward. That is what he
Yeah.
said. So
Eh,
how to meet out that gap is very important. About the regulatory bodies also, I would take a 1 minute that
Please, please.
national higher education commission is there.
Commission.
Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, will be there. It will be a one single body, barring medical and law, but other institutions will merge into this. But under that umbrella, there are going to be four other institutions, regulatory bodies. One is National Higher Education Regulatory Council. It will be there. So it will be a regulatory council under the commission. Then there will be General Education Council, GEC, which will be looking after the standards, quality parameters. Then there will be Higher Education Grand Council. This will be another council. And lastly, there will be National Accreditation Council. So these four councils will be working under the umbrella of Higher Education Commission of India. So we have to understand that this umbrella is required because India is a very vast country, and only having University Grants Commission, giving the grant is not only job of the regulatory authority. Promoting the quality, promoting the academic culture, promoting the research culture is the prime duty of the any regulatory body. And therefore, I personally happy that this NEP has come out with the National Research Foundation. So if they give the huge fund for this foundation, then many researchers, grassroots researchers, youth researchers, even the teachers, they can come forward and make a proposal, and India will come to the research culture. At present, we are very poor, and in R&D map, India is nowhere. India is nowhere. Among the top
True.
five countries are having 75% of the research share, publication share, patent share. Where are we? And China has developed during last 20 years so fast, so aggressively, creating a quality infrastructure of education. In our Asia only, many countries have improved a lot during last 15 years. But we have progress, but not progress enough to compete with them.
Thank you, thank you. Exactly, well said, Professor Sudhir. Actually, the banner in which we are doing this panel discussion, Professor GSK Social Laboratory, we are actually researching about blended learning. We are actually, in process of delivering the contents in the regional languages, especially professional courses. So we want to take the professional courses in the regional languages that can enhance the employability. And again, see, we are one of the either the country having a huge young population, okay, youngest country of the world. Unless otherwise you give a proper direction, a proper education, and they will be become a burden to us. They will not be. They will be liable to us. They won't be an asset in future. To create, to convert this, transform this generation as a productive and an asset than liability, then we need to educate them, that too in the regional languages, as you exactly said. And we are working on that. We are happy to work together on that. And coming to, I value all of your time, and it's almost 1.5 hours now. So I am about to, conclude. So before I go for a concluding, the other round of getting the concluding remarks, I would like to clarify one thing from Dr. Amit here. There is a credit banking system. Okay, there are a lot of international edutech organizations are there, including Coursera, edX, and Indian government's initiatives, SWAYAM and all. And there are a lot of new companies or edutech organizations are coming. Like us, we are also coming up. And in this context, There is a credit banking system that talks about putting, collectively you can do courses, and there is a freedom of doing the different courses from different universities and different institutions, and end of the day you can claim all those credits and you can get a degree or a diploma. So Professor Amit, can you clarify or can you detail the this credit banking system which is proposed in the national education policy? Professor Amit.
Well, this credit bank is definitely a very welcome development. Simple reason is that, uh, one of the challenges educational institutions are facing is that uh, I can offer only limited number of courses because I have limited faculty and so on. I cannot offer a very diverse range of courses, whereas Coursera is offering thousands of courses. So, if a student wants to learn a particular thing, and I'm not offering those electives because I can offer how many electives? Maybe 6, 8, 10 for one vertical. So, this guy is looking for an elective which I'm just not able to offer. So, what do? Should he be restricted to those 8 electives I'm offering? Supposing I say, no, you can go to Coursera, you pay some, 3,000 rupees and you can get your, get something which will be equivalent to my one credit. So you do 3 Coursera courses and I'll give you the credit for 130-hour course. So therefore, or you can go to Swayam or there Udemy, etc. There are many. So, it sets him free to learn what he can. And, he's not limited to the things that I'm able to offer. So, that's a very good thing. So, he can go, and this Coursera courses are really good because they are, created by some of the top universities in the world. And, attending is free. To get the certification, you have to pay. For him also, it's a very good business model because if hundreds of thousands of people pay you 3,000 rupees, you make money. On the other hand, for the student, by merely paying some 3,000 rupees, he has got some credit which he wants to do, and I am able to give him credit in my transcript. So I think freedom of choice is something that is very, very important. People should not be restricted to the number of courses my university provides or my college provides. I should be free to pick things outside that basket, and this freedom of choice is coming. Fortunately for the world, I think a large number of agencies are producing some very, very high quality work, which you can do it online. And one of the things that the digital divide that we are talking about, these courses are not in real time. So they are asynchronous. So you have a YouTube thing which you go through. So therefore, if a family has only one laptop and there are 4 members, there's no problem because they can go through the course at different points of time. So the digital divide also gets addressed when you have the asynchronous model of digital learning. So I think education, dissemination, creation in the Western world, humongous amount of creation takes place. They have a certain mindset. They create the thing and they let it go. They are not expecting anything. There's no revenue model. I do something, it's on YouTube, free. So I think we are moving towards a very, very positive culture, and you have freedom of choice. A time will come that without attending a single lecture, I should be able to accumulate credits for different things. And I say these are all the things that picked up. Here are the credits. Please give me a degree, and you get a degree. So I think education should be a universal franchise, and technology is a fantastic enabler. If you see technology, I'll just give you one small. I don't want to get too much into my personal thing. When I work with a media company, Indian Express Group. Now, right now, it is not doing very well, but at that time, it was the second biggest media companies in India. I was general manager operations, 1988. So I looked at my communication networks. So I said, "What's the speed?" They said 300 baud. 300 baud is 300 bytes per second. C dot, Sam Pitroda had come in. I said, "What's the speed available?" So 32 kbps is easily available. Everything. I had got 400 VOV offices. I threw out that 300 ball, 300 bits per second, and 32 kbps, 32 from 300 to 32,000. Look at the jump, 300 to 32,000. And 2 years down the line, that 32,000 becomes 54,000. Today, we are talking about 2 Gbps. I'm talking about 88. I'm not talking about some 100 years back. Can you imagine the technology platform? We are talking about penetration. The penetration is so great. Today, every village has, there are 640,000 villages in India. Now, I think geo penetration is there for around 200,000 of those villages. So I think there are many other things. ITC has got each of our. So I think technology is going to transform things. The way technology has transformed things, linkages. When my peers used to go to the US, to study. There was a telephone link, and you have to pay 300 rupees for maybe 3 minutes or something like that, which is bad link. Today, where's what? I mean, video conferencing free. So I think technology is going to transform everything. Universal education franchise is going to lower the cost of dissemination, creation, and when you have universities which are enlightened and they allow you to accumulate credits from different sources and put it all together, which gives you a degree enabler. I think we are moving towards something which is visionary and remarkable, and I'm all for it.
Well said, Dr. Amit. I will take this as your final remarks. And Dr. Ravi, your final remarks on national education policy in a 1 minute. How do you want to conclude?
Well, it's a progressive policy. The challenge in the implementation, I think the devil is in the details. So ideas are good, but MHRD and the overall government has to really take fast steps and look at the implementation challenges which have been highlighted, in fact, by other panelists, Professor Sudhindra and Dr. Amit. So that's my concluding remark.
Yeah. What's your remark, Professor Suthir? Putting it together, how do you rank? What's your
Yeah,
remarks?
this, yeah. So, National Education Policy document is futuristic, excellent, connecting India to the global education system. That is the beauty of this. And the challenge before this NEP is going to be action plan. And if we are not able to make it reality, then there will be chaos. And creating chaos will be a very huge problem for our country because we are not dismantling the existing and we are not replacing the new one. And if we enter into the chaos, that will be great loss to our country. This is my observation.
Dr. Amit, your final comment and remark on NAP.
Well, look, I think India is, you know, we have got very visionary leadership, and the kind of people who have trained the NEP, they are definitely very visionary people. I think it's a very forward-looking document. They have studied the education systems worldwide, and they are trying to bring in those things in India. There are enormous glitches that are likely to happen in implementation. Implementation is not going to be easy. It is going to be a very thorny path. Prioritizing will not be easy. Everybody would try to have a piece of that pie. Enabling that funds also, I don't know how easy or difficult it is. We are talking about 6%. How easy it is going to be, I don't know. So implementation is a huge challenge. It's a vision document that even if the money is to be found, it's going to be a huge challenge. So somebody has to make sure that the implementation has to be there. I think they will need to create a separate task force for implementation, prioritization. So we are still like it's just a beginning. It's a thought. To make it happen is going to be a Herculean task, not at all easy. They have to bring in the private sector. They have to bring in private universities, which are growing in numbers. The first, you'll be surprised. I don't know, Professor GSK, you know the first private university in which year it came? 2002.
Yeah.
That far back. That too how? Chhattisgarh. When Chhattisgarh was carved out of Madhya Pradesh, Ajit Jogi, who was the first chief minister of Chhattisgarh, he said, hello, all the universities are in Madhya Pradesh. Chhattisgarh has got nothing. Only there was one university, Guru Ghasidas University. Excepting two or three universities, Chhattisgarh has nothing. So Mr. Ajit Jogi said, I will have a private university bill. So in 2002, that's just 15 years back, private universities. Today, the number of universities, if I'm not mistaken, is over 200 private universities. Can you see the pace? Okay, Ajit Jogi, you know how many universities he created in 6 months? 102. And
Yeah.
then, Supreme Court struck it down. So, but the pace at which the private university movement has come, it's amazing. So, you have to bring in the plus, you have the deemed universities. So, you'll have to bring everybody together. Also, private corporate sector funding, which is also possible. So, I think the government will have to take in all the stakeholders together and create a task force and take it forward. The challenges are humongous. So, I don't think it's a bed of roses, but I think they're moving in the right direction. That's what I can say.
Yeah. Well said. Putting
Professor
together.
GSK. Yeah.
Yes, Sudhir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. My last remark is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Please.
that we all have heard think globally and act locally. Now there are opportunities tremendous from all angles. Think globally, act locally. Think globally, act globally. Think locally, act locally. Think locally, act globally. All these opportunities are there. Only thing that human intelligentsia, human mind, and traditional wisdom and modern technology, if they marriage together, I think, as Professor Amit sir has rightly said, there is a possibility to make imprints of Indian education system on a global level. That is a possibility. But at the same time, always I fear about the execution, where always last 7 decades we have failed miserably into that.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said. It is very fortunate to listen to big personalities today. We really had a wonderful and very insightful discussion. There is no doubt in it. So after listening to you guys after 1.5 hour, so I want to sum up. Make it very simple. There is a small political will. They have just started. It's just a start. What is needed to move forward to reach the destination? What is needed is a strong political will and mandate. Not just political will and mandate, we also need two other mandate, that is academic mandate and social mandate. So putting together political, academic and social mandate and will, definitely we are looking forward to have a wonderful learning ecosystem for our future generation. I really, thankful on behalf of Professor GSK Social Laboratory for all three of you joining today. So it was a really a wonderful discussion. Thank you very much, Professor Suthir. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Amit. And thank you very much, Dr. Gupta. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you.